to the hideouts of terrorists and bandits. Let me report I'm hanging out with Babajide Kolade Utitoju. BKO, I greet you. BKO, welcome back.
Thanks.
Yeah. And Ibn Abo Dixon has joined us. Ibn Abo, I greet you too.
Good evening.
Okay. Yeah, hear this. One of us, Cynthia Gregg, has her birthday today. I see a woman excelling in a male-dominated environment deserves some applause and commendation. On this note, let me use the opportunity to celebrate her. She's doing well in a male-dominated industry in the country, and I'm talking about security. Her name one more time, Cynthia Gregg of Safety Signatures. She's a year older today. You don't ask a woman how old she is. But note that she's a multiple award winner in this specialized sector. And as a fan of Journalist Hangout, we say a happy birthday to Madam Cynthia. Yeah.
Yeah, happy birthday to Madam Cynthia. More grace, continue to shatter the ceiling and break bounds. Congratulations.
Did they, you know, women at the Commonwealth Games, the gold medals were brought in by women.
Yes.
Not to say the men did nothing, but it's a wake-up call.
Yes, it is. And when people say the women are coming, they are wrong. The women are here.
Depends on where they went to.
You've got to give credit to Cynthia because it's not easy to excel in a man's world. I describe security as a man's world, and she's shown that she's one of the best that we have. She's well educated,
yeah,
you know, and she's very knowledgeable
talk about
the
women.
job.
Ibn Abo, you know, he's the ADC to his governor in Kogi. He's a woman.
Fantastic.
Pretty woman.
Yes. You know, in Kogi, we like to record first.
Okay, score
We
first.
are not interested in coming last. You know,
so many too know they carry last.
Yeah, no, last. I said we like to record first. You give us the slightest opportunity, we'll show that we are the best. So our governor got himself a woman as an ADC, and she's shown that she can do it. That is what matters the most.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's not, we shouldn't bother ourselves about gender, but about capacity. Can she do it? We're talking about
Cynthia Gregg.
Cynthia Gregg.
Yeah.
No one among our peers would not admit that she's one of the best. And to have excelled and to be consistent at it is something that really impresses someone like me. And I'm really happy for her.
You know, the name sounds like an Akwa Ibom name. Oh. Don't go to court over that. All right, so one more time, a happy birthday to Cynthia Gregg. Bless you. Okay, to our first story. You know, feeling powerless in a most miserable is a most miserable experience, I dare tell you. If given the choice, almost everyone would opt for more rather than less power. The energy of our power sector in this country is dogged by self-inflicted troubles, even with natural endowments of oil, gas, hydro, and solar resources. Experts in the power sector have called on the federal government of Nigeria to prosecute members of the National Union of Electricity Employees for shutting down the national grid for one day. And that was between the 16th and 17th of August. Businesses and other power consumers were thrown into darkness as the industrial action by the electricity workers led to a total shutdown. Now, to think that the whole mess was provoked by a so-called compulsory promotion interview for principal managers on paid entitlement, amongst other things, the question is the action justiciable, Jide?
Oh, it makes no sense. And they did it in a very responsible manner. You are sabotaging your country. You are shutting down the grid, and you even filmed yourself doing it. I mean, it just shows that some of our people have lost it completely. The Trade Dispute Essential Services Act and the Trade Dispute Act prohibits people in that category even going on strike. How will it look like for us to wake up one day and hear that the police are on strike? Is that something that any rational being wants to see? Or that our soldiers are on strike? You understand?
A demanding, shall we say, operation is going on, and then the light goes off.
No, we are not. This one is not even something spontaneous. They threatened they were going to do it. Did it and plunged businesses into darkness. Can anyone quantify the losses that we have incurred? Some of these guys, or PACN, because of their know-how, they decided to reabsorb them. And you want to be given the treatment of the regular workers. Now, even if you are a pensionable staff, those category of workers are not even supposed to go on strike. That is the thing. That's what we are saying. And our country must not, the leadership of our country must not yield totally to
some of these things.
The blackmail by some categories of workers. I mean, how do you describe what they have done? Their quarrel is with the head of service. And you went this far? It's because we do not punish people when they misbehave on a big scale like this. We recall when some people tried to did something like this during the IBB years. They were jailed. They were jailed.
It's an act of sabotage.
It is. That's what it is. You sabotage your country economically. Power supply is even integral to continuation of healthcare services. So you can imagine if somebody was on life support, you weren't expecting that this you switch this thing up and you switch. You've cost us a life. I just hope that it will never happen again.
Even about, some jobs they say are more equal than others, The judge is going on strike, or FRCN going on strike. Now, NEPA. But punishing bad behavior, we don't know.
As a matter of fact, the reasons given were not cogent enough to warrant such an action. And more so, for me, we were literally held under siege. Because, we already are very apprehensive of our lives. We are afraid. There is so much insecurity. Then suddenly there is power outage. It's not, sometimes when there's no power supply in your area, at least in some other areas there will be power supply. But in this particular case, it was a complete shutdown.
In my house, I remember Mrs. Hussein talking about getting petrol. Sure, say the darkness is, come on.
I totally agree with BKO. Because if this is not dealt with adequately, some other agencies might come up with something like this, and it will continue like that. So there has to be a commensurate punishment, irrespective of the fact that they had whatever reason they had.
All right, then, let's go to our next story. One nagging problem plaguing oil exploration and exploitation in our country today is oil theft. The Equatorial Guinea Navy has reportedly arrested an oil tanker, the MV Heroic Idun. I hope that's right. And now the super tanker was said to have evaded arrest by Nigerian security folks. The 3 million capacity vessel was escaping with stolen crude, evaluated by industry operators to be worth more than $300 million in a single operation. A Nigerian Navy ship, NNS Gongola, had interrogated the fleeing ship on the 7th of August. We owe the Equatorian authorities a word of gratitude for the arrest of the 26-man crew of 16 Indians, 8 Sri Lankans, a Filipino, and a Polish. Are we damned?
I'm particularly happy for what happened because, you see, we have talked severally about how petrol pipelines have been vandalized, how we don't even exactly cannot say the quantity of PMS that is being consumed by Nigerians. There's so many stories around it.
Yeah.
And now this. So I'm really, really commending the naval officers, yes, for what they have done, because I'm sorry, this wasn't the first. So for them to have been able to apprehend these ones, I think it's a right step in the right direction, and I hope that there's more light to this.
Again, we must keep talking about punishing bad behavior, and this is one nagging issue, as I said at the beginning: oil theft.
Yes,
in our country.
It's not just punishing bad behavior. It's even stopping bad behavior from happening.
Yeah.
Look at what happened. This crude oil was stolen within our international waters.
Yeah.
But it has taken another country to help us to catch these thieves. When we were told that 400,000 barrels
is what we consume.
of crude oil. No.
Okay.
400,000 barrels of crude oil get stolen every day in our country.
Okay.
You and I know that without international collaboration, without big people getting involved,
Insider.
it cannot, it's not possible to steal on a consistent basis every day, to steal 400,000 barrels. We are not talking about 400,000 gallons, barrels. It means that this is a big cartel, and it can only happen if even those who are mandated to stop it from happening are looking the other way. It is a big business for those who are stealing our crude. And I don't know anywhere else, even in wartime, where people can be permitted to steal that much. Every day, OPEC gave us a quota, we are unable to meet it.
Yeah.
We are doing just about, our quota is 2 million barrels a day. We are doing just about 1.2, and that's money being lost. The rest gets stolen. So
and we say
this is what we are seeing.
The price for the barrel goes for about $100 now.
No, it's even, the volatility is itself a concern.
But even so, you expect us to be making more money.
No, every oil-producing country except Nigeria that I know, during this Ukraine-Russia war, everybody is making money. The Aramco, the Saudi oil company, made $87 billion in 6 months. Okay. It's only Nigeria that is recording losses. It's only Nigeria that is an OPEC member country that is importing petroleum products. Now even the crude gets stolen from here. You need a super tanker. And super tankers are usually between 280 meters and 790 meters long.
Capacity.
Length.
I know.
See how big. In fact, super tankers are described as the biggest physical structures.
They say like a little village.
Man-made physical structures. Because it's so big. Something that can take up to 800,000 barrels of crude at once. And even when you slam your brakes on the super tanker, it takes it 20 minutes to stop. Even if you are on normal speed, it takes it 20 minutes to stop. So for people to bring something that big into our territorial waters, stole what they needed to steal, and then went as far as Equatorial Guinea before they were stopped. It means that from within our country here, some people allow them to go. Let's tell ourselves the truth.
By choice.
Yes, tell ourselves the truth.
Choice.
We are grateful to the people who stopped them. But we have not done well.
In the first place.
That's to tell you now that those who say 400,000 barrels get stolen a day, we've seen how it gets stolen. It's not with small vessels that you can steal that quantum of oil. It's with super tankers.
Ibn Abo, again the question, are we damned?
You see, until we begin to deal with the issues surrounding corruption, until we become very intentional and deliberate about it, it's like this. Okay, tell me, at what time, for how long was the transfer done from wherever they, drained the oil from into this tanker? And nobody, were there no security personnel there? So not everybody went to sleep, and this thing happened. Like BKO said, you see, we don't punish erring officials. We don't punish erring personnel until we begin to slam commensurate punishment on those who have erred.
Yeah.
To serve as a deterrent, we'll continue to have stories like this.
Jide is talking about insider cooperation. So are we saying they are untouchables?
It takes, this is big business.
I don't know.
It takes people with a lot of muscle.
You rub my back, I rub yours.
Oh boy, oh boy.
The only way, see, there are people that when you post them to One and other places where we have export terminals and all that, they will be jubilating. It's because of things like this.
Let me
If we don't tell ourselves the truth, a lot of things that we permit to happen.
All right.
It shows that even a lot of us don't love our country. That is the thing. How can you allow people to steal this much from your country? It means you don't love your country.
All right, Jide, we have Saliu reaching us from Lagos. Saliu, good evening to you.
Good evening, citizen. How are you?
I'm fine. Edu.
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay, yeah.
Just keep talking. Don't listen to us.
Good evening. It's very pathetic that we don't love our country. Our countrymen do not love our country. Otherwise, how can this?
Okay, I think the line to you is muffled, Saliu, but thank you. What I took from her, from him rather, Ibn Abo, is many of us don't love this country.
It's obvious.
Oh, it's clear. It's clear. Okay, let's go to our next story. You know, a serious setback is frustrating the completion of the work on the multi-billion naira Zungeru hydroelectric power dam in Niger State. The trouble with the facility, which is the fourth of its kind in the state, is the ceaseless attacks by bandits and terrorists who have turned the state into a battleground and driven away the workers. The development affects farming and displacement of natives from the homesteads. Niger State is not known as the power state for nothing. It hosts the Shiroro, Jeba, and Kainji dams as well. Okay, the time for us sustained onslaught against the bandits, I dare say, is now, Jide.
Yeah, and I saw a story where the Chinese contractor was complaining that the fact that work has been forced to be extended has cost him more than $20 million. He's lost more than $20 million. The unfortunate reality is that Zungeru dam is surrounded by communities where bandits are holding sway. Communities like Rafi local government, for example, where those students were kidnapped.
Okay.
The JSS Kagara, Rafi local government, Shiroro, the communities around the dam site are at this time suffering on constant attacks by bandits. So the bandits have now taken their notoriety to the downside, where they kidnap workers. They also kidnap residents of the town itself. So the frequency of those attacks have disturbed, if I can use that word, has slowed down the execution of the contractor's mandate to deliver that 700 megawatts hydro plant
I
to
hear
Nigeria.
that some German workers were also killed in the process.
Yes, that one happened the other day when the Nigerian soldiers were ambushed as they were heading towards the place, and some of them were killed. That Niger state itself is looking like the capital of banditry in our country. When Boko Haram decided to move out of the northeast, it was to Niger that they first went. Why? Because in Bogu local government, we have the national park.
Okay.
It's called the Kanji Lake National Park. Bogu is the biggest local government in Nigeria at more than 10,000 square kilometers. It's bigger than some states. Just one local government. Bigger than many states in the south. Now, those boys have found refuge inside the national park that we have mismanaged over the years. We've mismanaged a lot of our forest reserves. Now bandits have found in those forest reserves where they can continue to hibernate and launch attacks on our people. There are no less than 9 local governments in Niger State, where bandits are terrorizing our people, including this Hangout that I spoke about earlier. So, you know, that is also close to Kontagora, and Kontagora is also experiencing constant attacks. So it's unfortunate that the location of the dam makes it normal that the workers there will come under attack, because the whole area is surrounded by communities that are already infested by banditry.
Even about these, we are talking about enemies of the state, you know. So obviously, it is time to call the bluff, if you ask me.
It is. I mean, long overdue, as a matter of fact. You see, I mean, I'm looking at the government at this time. Now, you have Niger State has, you know, has the capacity to attract a lot of tourists. If the government have been very deliberate and they develop tourist activities within that state. That is on one side. Then it's a state where you have Shiroro, you have Jeba, you have Kanji and all that. And then Zungeru is coming up. And we are not new to the activities of terrorists. So what stopped the government from, you know, beefing up security within that axis?
Yeah.
Because even the Mina, Zungeru, and the Kutangura Road is notorious
for the
kidnapping. Yes.
Yeah.
So for so many reasons, the government should have been proactive enough to provide high-level security. Because I remember there was even something similar that happened in Borno State. I think it was 2018 or thereabout. It was said that they found oil or something there, and some professors from Ahmadu University were going to visit there and were kidnapped. They were eventually released, but then we know the activities of these bandits and terrorists. What are we doing? I am aware that the government is doing a lot, but we can do more.
Yeah.
We can do more to secure our facilities.
Jide, we are living in very interesting times, very, very interesting times. In a country where we hardly can boast of 4,000 to 5,000 megawatts of power, a dam like this, which should have boosted electricity, is coming under attack. Yes. And we seem to be helpless.
There's no reason for us to be helpless. If we have the right strategy, we can deal with these people. But it's unfortunate that we are looking like we are at their mercy. How do people You see, even those Niger communities, when you mention their names, you remember some of the greatest generals to pass out, pass through the army in our country. General Wushishi, you remember him? He was chief of army staff during the Shagari era. That is his local government.
Recall that the late Zik of Africa was born there.
Yes, he was born in Ungeru, yes.
Yeah.
That's the local government of General Wushishi. We have General Gadonasko. Gadonasko's local government is literally overrun by bandits.
Oh, dear.
So I don't know how long it's going to take. I was doing my research, and 9 local governments in Niger State. You know, the governor too has been complaining, has been begging that the federal government should help him because they've taken over their communities. In Shiroro local government, Munya, that's Erikin Power. Munya is close to the border with Kebbi. In fact, the people who kidnapped those federal government college students in Kebbi, they came from Niger at the border with Kebbi. We have Wushishi local government, Rafi, that's Kagara, then Kontagora local government, Rijau. We have, Rijau is the one that's close to Kebbi. Then Meriga, Magama, that's the local government of General Nasco. Then Bogu local government, the big local government. We've got to defeat banditry. And we can't defeat banditry if we don't take a good look at Niger, because from that Niger, the forests link the states of the Northwest. So they can move from Niger, go right up to Kebbi State, you know, at the other end. So we've got to deal decisively with these people. Otherwise, we won't have peace.
All right, then. Our hearts go undoubtedly to the folks in Niger State. We must go on a break now. Please stay with us. This is Journalist Hangout.
The federal government, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, announces the availability of COVID-19 and childhood vaccines nationwide. With the disturbing increase in reported cases of COVID-19 infections across Nigeria, protect yourself and loved ones from the harmful virus by getting vaccinated. Visit the nearest public or private health facility and mass vaccination sites today to receive the first, second, or booster doses of COVID-19 vaccines. COVID-19 vaccines are given to persons 18 years and above, including pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers, while childhood vaccines are given to children from birth to 5 years for protection against polio, hepatitis, yellow fever, measles, meningitis, and other vaccines-preventable diseases. All vaccines are free, safe, and effective. For inquiries, visit www.nphcda.gov.ng or call 0700-220-1122.
This message is from NPHCDA in partnership with the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support.
All right, folks, let's go back. You know, we stay in Niger State. And of course, the trouble there is that bandits have affected the job on the Zungeru Power Dam. So we have no choice, as I said, go after these people, because it's the only way to make this statement. Not to say bandits can finish can win the war. They can't win the war as we speak. But we know where they are, where they hibernate. How about going for a kill? That's not asking for too much.
That is what we are saying. You have to be intentional and be deliberate. We pay too much lip service to acting upon a situation rather than going ahead and acting, taking care of it outrightly. You know this forest. We have the technology. Why does it seem so difficult to defeat them? I know that, yes, these bandits, these terrorists, they have top-notch, ammunition and all that.
Yeah.
But the government can defeat them. So what is holding back the government is a question here. Because Nigerian army, Nigerian military generally, they are super. When they leave the country to take care of other issues outside of Nigeria, they do fantastic. So why can't they replicate it in Nigeria? There is something that is holding them back. What is it?
I'm wondering. Just as we were talking about theft of our crude on, by choice, because we allow it. I hear that Tompolo has been given some assignment to keep these guys at bay.
Yes, I saw the story too. These days, we don't know which story to believe. You read a story that seems so convincing. After some time, you'll be told that it's actually fake news. This is the season. There are people who are so talented at sitting down and concocting
alternative facts.
Fiction. Fictional writers. They will write it and it will seem so convincing. So, but even if Tompolo is being given this job now, I still believe that it's better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
It's better than doing nothing. And amongst the militants is clearly the most equipped.
I hear is the word
the one with
the others.
The one that has the capacity that others don't have. Because when they were fighting the Nigerian state, even deep in the high seas, they were going there to sabotage us as a nation. So they understand that whole area. Now, if we are taking steps at this time to say, help us to stop the theft of our crude oil, it will help us to increase our output. Yeah. Because the fact that we cannot go beyond 1.2 million barrels a day is hurting us economically. We are not making as much money as we ordinarily would have made if we were able to meet our quota, for example.
Even the same way we are talking about the trouble at Zungeru, you know, people who live around the area, the surrounding areas, have their farming interrupted and a way of life dismantled.
It's unfortunate. A lot of, you see, it's like a very dangerous vicious circle. Now, people are not able to go to the farm. What does that tell us? Hunger. When people are hungry, they become desperate. When they are desperate, they become easy prey to other criminal elements to conscript into their whatever they have. So at the end of the day, there is need, honestly, the government should rise up to their responsibility and sort these things out. It's not rocket science. We can do it. I have that strong belief.
Yeah.
Okay. Peradventure, the story surrounding Tompolo is true.
Yeah.
I mean, if it needs you to bring on board such persons,
why not?
Go ahead. The bottom line is let us
get results.
Exactly.
I hear Abraham is reaching us from Hamburg. Abraham, good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Welcome.
Good evening.
Good
evening,
Abraham.
And let me start by that of the oil theft. The something is this, like we say, it takes two to tango. It takes two to tango. Do you know how long it takes to load a super tanker like that? We call it VLCC, very large crude oil vessel. It takes almost days to fill such a vessel before going out to the sea. So you mean we don't have the Navy, the security forces? So like I said, it takes two to tango, and without the help of those, either in government or at the terminal, such a theft cannot take place.
All right. Thank you, Abraham. So a word, they say, is enough for the wise. Okay, to our last story for the evening. You know, the late German general, Edwin Rommel, said, quote, "Don't fight a battle if you don't gain anything winning," end quote. This, I'm sure, connotes a fight to the finish. President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday issued fresh orders to the military to take the fight against terrorists to their hideouts and ensure they are completely eliminated. The Commander-in-Chief urged the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development and its related agencies to come up with specific programs to address the urgent threats being posed in the northeast region of the country. Now, coming on the occasion of the World Humanitarian Day, Ibn Abba, the die we believe is cast. Again.
I just hope this time around we will get the desired result, because honestly, there is need to demystify the air around the issue of insecurity. It's like there is something very mysterious about it and you don't just get it. But I believe, I'll keep saying this. I hope that at this time, from what Mr. President has said, I hope he's going to sit and follow through. You know, there are times that some orders will be given, and at the end of the day, it's like it was never given. So I hope that we are going to re-engineer our security system and do the needful so that we can have some, respite from this high level of insecurity.
Jide, after the Twin Towers were attacked in New York, I remember the Congress came with the order, and Americans went after the terrorists anywhere they are. The last being the latest attack on the guy in Afghanistan, Al-Harawi, am I right now? So we can't take the shine of terrorists as we speak and as we sit here.
We can. If you've been reading about developments in the Northeast, you see that we've made a lot of progress in the Northeast. At least I can confirm some of the developments because I was there recently. Between December and now, at least I've been to Borno State twice. So, in the Northeast, one of the reasons that account for the successes we are recording is the fact that we are now taking the battle to them. Unlike before, when the army will wait to be attacked and then launch a counterattack. You sit in your barracks, these ragtag fellows will come and attack you in your barracks, destroy your weapons. And it was such an embarrassment. But now, with the acquisition of some game-changing weapons, including armored personnel carriers, with the reactivation of the T-72 main battle tank, and some other light armored vehicles, we are now able to take the battle to the enemy. Don't also forget the Tucanos. The Tucanos, as well as the unmanned aerial vehicles, the drones, are doing a fantastic job, because what the Tucanos do for you is the precision of delivery of the ammunition. In the Tumbus, that's in the islands of Lake Chad, where ISWAP has its base, and they are very strong. The Tucanos have done a fantastic job of degrading them, reducing their capacity to threaten our troops and threaten nearby communities.
It is possible.
Yes, I'm headed there. Now, in the past, it was difficult to embark on even ground offensives in that area because of the terrain, the treacherous nature of the terrain. But where you can't do that, because you are thinking of the consequences, you now have the Tucanos who can deliver their weapons with accuracy, with precision. That is one edge that it has over some of the other platforms available to the Nigerian Air Force. So they've done a fantastic job, especially in the Tumbus, in those islands of Lake Chad. And then the unmanned area vehicles, they're also doing their job. Today, more and more of the Chibok girls are being rescued. It is because the people who held them hostage, people that they married them to by force, they are on the run.
Yeah, been dislodged.
More than 28,000 fighters have surrendered. There's a reason for that. It is because they can no longer stand the heat. Now, I'm not saying that it is impossible for us to hear about attacks in the northeast and all that. Pockets of attacks will still take place. But you and I know that the rate at which they used to attack our troops, go even to super camps to dislodge soldiers, it's no longer happening. So we have made real progress in that area. I have always called for taking the battle to the enemy.
Yeah.
I've always demanded for that. I'm happy that we are doing that now, and it's bearing dividends. And the president is saying, look, take the battle to these guys. We shouldn't always wait until when they attack us, because the other day, they killed our brigade of guards men. Then you saw the army descend on some areas in the Federal Capital Territory where they knew that these bandits had their camps. The point that I'm making is we do not have to wait until they kill our troops or until they launch an attack on a community before we go after them. They say attack is the best form of defense. In football, a team that is known, look at Manchester City, for example. I may not like Manchester City. So I like to call them Man City. But the truth is, their defense, because they are constantly coming at you, they are constantly attacking, you see that they have probably the best defense in that division. Because you are busy trying to stop the attack. You won't have the time to attack them. So their defense is good. So if we imbibe the habit of taking the fight to these guys, honestly, we will achieve our aims. And I'm happy that even the Air Force now, they are beginning to use the Tucanos, even in the North Central and the Northwest, because they confirmed that to me that we have begun using the Tucanos there. So we want to see results. That's what we want to see.
Even about so that an order coming from the #1 citizen at this time should not be taken for granted.
It shouldn't be taken for granted. And we have waited for this for so long. So I just, I'm even happy that BKO said that now they can fly the Tucano even down to the North Central, because then it was limited to the Northeast because of the kind of arrangement they had with the suppliers and all that. So we are looking forward to seeing the end of all of this, because it's becoming so worrisome. You can't even travel. You can't go anywhere. You want to even travel from here to Ibadan. Your heart is in your throat. You're about chewing it.
You know, going to your river state is not really about the journey, but the scenery. But you are apprehensive this time. How do I go? By air, which is not...
Air travel is even very expensive.
Yeah.
Very, very expensive.
Well, so we have agreed, Jide, that it's not difficult for us to take the battle to them. It's not impossible. So it's not a question of #1 has spoken, but because we can do it, maybe that's why #1 is giving them the orders.
We don't even need the #1 to say, do this.
Yeah.
Before you do it. He has people, he's giving them a job to do. You have the service chiefs. The service chief must design their own methodology for defeating banditry in our country. It has become the biggest problem in our country. And I want to believe that even the 2023 election campaigns will be punctuated by promises about how they are going to address security and all that. It has suddenly become the #1 problem in our country.
It is.
Not the economy anymore. You know, because how can you even have an economy that is strong when people are not free to go and farm? They can't produce, they can't move freely. movement of goods and services allow economies to thrive. It's a big problem. We are even cancelling some routes to say, okay, train transportation, we are not going along this route because of fear of insecurity. We are closing down schools because of fear of insecurity. All kinds of things. It's like these guys have become like our albatross.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, as I've said before, let Nigeria tell itself that it is at war. Let's admit that we are at war. And what do you do when you are at war? War is an unusual situation. Our people will get our people ready. Let's launch an all-out war against these people. We don't want piecemeal attacks on them. It will not give us the dividends that we want. All-out war. Block all the routes through which they can escape.
Because it is possible.
It is possible. If you declare war against them, all the logistics that you need, provide it. We can plan for months for this kind of war, because I know that even the munition that we need to drop and all that on them, it takes time to get some of these things.
Yeah.
But we can plan for 6 months and tell ourselves that at the end of 6 months, we want to exterminate these people.
That's it.
And so be it.
We have Ibrahim reaching us from Kaduna. Ibrahim, good evening to you.
Good evening, sir. And good evening to the Potitoji and that lady there.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to get you this evening. Happy weekend to all of you.
Thanks.
Okay, then.
The issue of insecurity, it is high time now that they should seek direct to the directives of Mr. President. We cannot continue go down lane for this criminal and their criminality and their criminal act to continue to persist. Nigeria can do that. We can eliminate these people out of this country totally. Let me tell you, if Nigeria can go to other nations and demonstrate perfectly, why at home? Something is feeding, and we don't want to tell ourselves the truth. Something is feeding. But Mr. President, let him come out and really warn even those that are in the helm of affairs, handling the forces. Please, we should be careful. But the issue of security is somehow technical and one, the intelligence.
Thank you.
We really need to go into intelligence.
Thank you, Brother Ibrahim. Thank you. Ibn Abo, you remember the Patriot Act, as I referred to earlier on, came in the wake of 9/11. And under the Act, going after terrorists had been, on the podium, on the front burner for the Americans.
Yes.
It should be so here.
It should be so. It should be so, absolutely, because we must play with full deck. Because you see, this honestly, we have given them too long a period to begin to believe in themselves. And when your enemy believes in himself and he believes he can deal with you, you have a problem.
Yeah.
But now that we are already taking the battle to their gates, I think, and if you are going to play with full deck, I think we will get very, very desired results.
As a matter of fact, Jide, let me humor you a little. The late American blues singer, Billie Holiday, said, if the trouble with giving a man a free hand is if you do so, he runs it all over your body. You understand what I'm saying?
Runs his,
hand all over you. So,
even if the person is a man or a woman.
Did you hear me first time?
No, I'm just looking for clarity on this. No, I don't.
Let me reconcile it to
okay.
what
you want to say
floor.
it again?
No, I'm not saying again. I'm saying, looks like the terrorists have had one free hand too many.
Yes. Honestly, we've indulged these guys for too long. We've indulged them for too long. We are supposed, that fear factor, we must bring that fear factor back. I believe in the Northeast, under Operation Hardin-K, we brought that fear factor back. They know that they can't mess up the way they used to do. These guys will attack an army base and operate for a long time, and even steal weapons, carry your trucks and all that. They're not able to do that again. There's a reason. That means they are doing something right in that place now. Our problem is now the North Central and the Northwest. We can defeat them there. Because if we don't defeat them, they will begin to move into the Southwest. In fact, from Bogu now, they are already coming into Kwara North. And from Kwara North, I can tell you they can get into Oyo, get to Kishi, and not pass off Oyo north. So and we have no choice.
Spreading the fear factor, Ibinabo, you know. The fear is man-made, and it is the greatest enemy of man.
It is. You see, perception is easy but difficult to change. Once you have imbibed the spirit of fear in you, it's very difficult to change it. But then, I want to believe that, sincerely, we are all afraid. But when we begin to see tangible results, that is, the government successfully decimating these terrorists, these bandits, and gradually we'll come back, we'll go back to our old ways of being very relaxed and being very assured that you can move from here to where, even River State, and you're not afraid. But till then... Evangelist has joined us from Spain. So we say, good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, sir.
How do you do?
Thank you very much. I'm fine. Babajide, thank you.
I meet you, sir.
In Abuja Airport one time.
How is Valencia?
God bless you, too. Valencia is fine. We thank God.
Okay.
So, what I want to say about the first, one of the first topics is about the stealing of our crude oil.
Yes.
I think the leadership of that zone, even the government, they have a hand in it. I think these things might be up to even a million barrels a day. So I just pray that if some journalist investigation can be done on that these people their names can be on the news. I think that would be a very good thing, or some investigative journalism, so that we can go deeper. This is our nation. Spain have nothing, but look at how it is. I just pray that God will give us opportunity to be able to have people like you who've done more.
Thank you, Evangelist. God cannot be programmed. God has given us everything we need to defeat the enemy. So it's left to us. All right, folks, we must wind up for the day, not before thanking Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Thank you.
Thank you.
I greet you.
Yeah.
Ibinabo Dixon, you are thinking of Christmas this year?
Yeah.
Going to your native rivers?
I hope that...
By road?
You know, it's fun traveling by road.
It is.
Apart from the fact that it's cheaper, it's fun traveling by road. It's educative. You learn, you get to understand.
The scenery,
yes.
refreshing.
So, and we miss that. So I hope that by December we could have that back.
Yeah. And no less so, Jide going to your Kogi this year end?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that at this stage it's extremely risky to travel, and there's no airport in my state. So if you want to go home, you must go by road.
We can borrow you one. But this is where we say thank you for the 60 minutes. The program is ending here, but if you missed a part of this program, join us at 11 later tonight for a late edition. And on Sunday, we have the 2-hour stretch from 1:30 to 3:30. The program is also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Cynthia.
Join us to stop crude oil and product theft at production sites, on the pipeline, at terminals, at the depots, on vessels, at refineries. Help stop crude oil and product theft. Report infringements to www.stop